So we've got a hot topic for you today, and it's high premium or high deductible. How to make health insurance affordable with no other than Mary Brimer, owner of American Family Insurance and Investments. Mary, people are struggling paying health insurance right now.
People are struggling, but kind of like investments and many other things in life, people make decisions based off of irrational fears. Mm-hmm. And this subject is very near and dear to my heart, and I'll tell our listeners, before I became a financial planner and earned a lot of credentials and licensing more than 15 years ago, I used to work for a specialty pharmaceutical company, and I would collect, it was a pharmacy, I would collect $15 million a year in unpaid, uncollected health insurance deductibles and co-insurances. Wow. So I have a really in-depth knowledge, and from the time I was 18 forward, I had worked in some capacity in healthcare within billing and collections. So I used to wonder how people could survive not knowing what their health plan offers, because your life or your health is more important than your home or your car. But the fact of the matter is it's confusing. People kind of get an attitude and a mental block about it, and they don't learn. And what I wanted to share today is open enrollment is upon us here in a few months. We're all going to need to sit down and evaluate what our employer might offer us next year, or what we might have to enroll in the health insurance exchange. And there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of resentment. It's one of those necessary evils. It's a bill. It's like taxes. Nobody wants to pay it, but you have to. Mm-hmm. And if you don't pay for it, you have two consequences. One is you get sick or something catastrophic happens and you end up in extreme financial debt because you have no coverage. And the other is if you don't pay for health insurance and you just continue on your life, the IRS will come and put a penalty on you, and they will levy up to and including levying your bank account and assets for not carrying health insurance. So I want to talk about a couple of ways to make it affordable. I have a lot of clients that come to me and they say, "Oh my God, it's going to cost so much money. It's $600 or $800 a month, or we can't afford it." When there's a difference in age between spouses, one spouse is still working to cover the younger spouse on health insurance because you can't get Medicare until you're 65. Mm-hmm. So if you get pushed into early retirement a couple of years before you can claim Medicare, these are things that devastate wealth if you're not prepared for. So health insurance, you got to think about it. And the biggest question is higher premium with better, quote-unquote, coverage, right? Lower copay, less out-of-pocket, or run the risk, have a higher deductible and pay a lower monthly premium.
I like risk.
And I like risk, too.
Yeah.
But you and I can afford to be risky because we're young, we're healthy, we go to the gym, we probably eat almost all right, except for all the eating out, right? Yeah. So there's a couple of things to think about whether you're an individual or you're a family. Health insurance premiums are going to be based on your age, which we cannot control. We're never younger or healthier than we are today. And the second piece is your income. So when you sit down in the exchange, you have to estimate what you think your income will be for the following year. And that can be hard for self-employed persons because sometimes we don't know. But the good news is it's only for 1 year. It readjusts the following year. Your premium will readjust. So if you come in much lower than you think, you're going to pay less next year. Mm-hmm. If you come in a lot higher, there might be an adjustment and an offset that comes to you from the IRS. I have not seen that happen yet, but I don't put it past them to do an audit and an adjustment and come back and collect money because the goal of the IRS is to collect money. So the reasons that I would go for a higher deductible, a higher premium, a higher out-of-pocket, lower copay, lower deductible would be if I had a child that had profound asthma, some type of illness that was going to require a lot of hospital visits, doctor visits. If there was pre-existing, if somebody had mental health visits, a lot of those. If you have a couple of kids, 2 or 3 kids, and you're constantly in the doctor's office for sinus infections, breaks, things like that, I would have to take a look at what the actual usage is year over year. But what you have to remember with Obamacare is that all of your wellness visits are covered at 100%, no copay. All of your wellness visits, your physicals, For women, annual pap smears, mammograms, all of that stuff is covered at 100%.
But you got to qualify income-wise for that?
You have to go in and qualify income-wise. So I would look at that and I would say, is this more of a wellness thing and I get sick once or twice a year and I can afford to go for a higher deductible because those 1 or 2 visits would be an out-of-pocket expense after it's submitted to the insurance. So maybe it's $400 or $500. Would that risk be worth me spending an extra $300 a month on health insurance premium? No, it wouldn't. But if there's chronic illnesses, there's very, very routine visits that happen, once every week, every other week. That would be a reason that I would consider a lower deductible and a higher monthly premium out of pocket. One way to save money right out of the gate. I know that the government says that your adult children can sit on your health insurance plan. This burns me up until age 26.
Ooh.
If your adult child under the age of 26 and over the age of 18 is filing their own tax return, get them off your health insurance plan.
Yes.
Get them off the plan because they can enroll for free. Basically, based on their part-time job, they can enroll as a tax-paying independent adult, even if they live under your roof. They can get on United Health Plan, or actually I believe they're leaving the state now, but they can enroll in Neighborhood Health Plan of Rhode Island for free or for next to nothing. And guess how much their ER visits are? 0.
Wow.
0. They get a primary care doctor, it accepts their insurance, and they go. Something else that people trip up and think about, they live in fear of, prescriptions. Prescription benefits are its own separate piece of health insurance. It is not billed through major medical. You have your copay. There are 3 tiers of copays no matter what plan you sign up for. If you have high blood pressure, chances are your copay is $3. So stop making a $300 a month expenditure on something that would be no different under a lesser out-of-pocket plan. And it's just a matter of understanding and talking with somebody that gets this, that can help you evaluate. Because my point as a financial planner is, can I invest that $300 a month for you somewhere else?
Yes.
That benefits you over the long haul. And I put this out in social media, and I had a friend confide to me. He's self-employed, entrepreneur, dear friend of mine for 20 years. And he said he asked his doctor, what type of plan should I select? And the doctor said, I don't know very many people that could write a $5,000 check in an emergency. And I said, well, let's think about it for a minute. How often do you have a $5,000 emergency? And he goes, well, one MRI. I said, one MRI is like $600 to $1,000 maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you had a catastrophic event, you don't typically have a $5,000 medical event in a day. It does happen, but very rare. It's
maybe
not,
once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime. It's not a common event. So let's just say that you ended up with a $5,000 cumulative event, escalating medical event. Once those bills roll in, you can negotiate a payment plan with the hospital at 0% interest. I would argue, if you felt so compelled, you could put it on a credit card, but I would never advocate for doing that at 18+% interest. And the second piece is, if you found yourself in a position where you developed a chronic illness, again, open enrollment is only 12 months away. So if, let's say, you're in your 30s, you're probably going to be pretty healthy until your mid to late 40s before you start having an event here or there. All of that money that could have been saved and invested somewhere else is a place that you can put those dollars to fund for that potential $5,000 medical event that might happen once in a decade, once in 2 decades. So we make decisions out of irrational fear when the reality is, the insurance companies and the government want your money. They absolutely want your money. Yeah. My job is to help you retain your money. And I would also argue, if you are overfunding a 401k and you are not exceeding $250,000 a year and you're worried about health insurance, you need to ratchet down your 401k contributions, because those retirement plans best serve high-income earners because of the tax deductions that they're afforded. Most average middle-class American families that are making, maybe $80,000 to $100,000 adjusted gross income can be better served by netting the taxes due on that income, taking it in person, taking care of their health insurance and putting it into a mutual fund or into savings so that they have the liquidity they need. I'm not a fan of locking up money in a retirement plan that you cannot access until age 59 and a half. when you might have other things that you need to fund for now. So that's just my take on health insurance. It can work for you. It can work for you really well. Preventative care is excellent. It's better to be healthy and get an annual physical and have all of those things covered, your lab work for free, and know about something. We do sick care very well in America. We don't do health care, wellness care very well. But the Obamacare plan, if utilized and implemented properly inside a household budget, can really serve a family very well.
Great information, Mary. So if you want to reach Mary, you can give her a call direct at 401-295-1005. Let her know that you heard it on the roundtable.